My dog stepped on a bee.
That facial expression right there. I never understood why she did that. Her acting skills are so bad that her brain thought that was the appropriate response. Here's the real life animation.
My dog stepped on a bee.
What is that? It's like my dog steps on a bee. A bee. Like what? I remember watching this like live. I was watching a lot of the Asmongold clips on it, and I couldn't work out what this was. It's like the weirdest sob story to have. She's just trying to drum up any sort of sympathy she can and failing miserably. And she's going to be back apparently. So look forward to that one. Amber Heard returns with new abuse allegations. It's another video from Jesse Grant here. So we're going to be watching this.
It doesn't take a genius to know that DC and their new DCU is a total disaster, but things have just gotten a lot worse for both James Gunn and DC, with the fact that Amber Heard's now come out with fresh accusations against the director of Aquaman, Jason Momoa himself, and the entire DC company.
She's back again, boys. Are you looking forward to that? Round 2? I thought she went to like another country and basically retired from Hollywood. And I say retired as if it was like her choice. It was more a case of she effed up so badly that who's going to want her?
Here we go again.
Yeah.
As she's accused Jason Momoa of trying to get her fired and showing up drunk on set, as well as
Jason Momoa allegedly dressed like Johnny Depp, pushed to have Amber Heard fired from the film, and turned up drunk to set. Bombshell notes claim. So she's firing once again on all cylinders. Attack, 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 this lady. But I don't think she's sort of very good at defending herself.
dressing up as Johnny Depp, which is absolutely hilarious, but when you actually know how Jason Momoa dresses day to day, it doesn't seem like he's trying to dress up as Johnny Depp, as he genuinely just dresses very similar to Johnny Depp to begin with. But she's also accused Warner Brothers and DC...
I don't know if I would call it a hippie style, but a very relaxed and free method, I would say,
of trying to get her completely removed from this sequel, which they have come out and denied completely, saying that she was never going to have a big role in the movie to begin with.
Sure. I'm sure that was the case.
As they said, the movie was always going to be more focused on Jason Momoa this time round, and even before the Johnny Depp trial, Amber Heard was never going to have a big role in...
Wasn't she like... She was a fair bit in the first movie, and it's a sequel, so you would follow that onwards. So unless she dies early, and then Aquaman gets a new love interest or something, she would, you know, whether you like it or not, feature quite prominently. And there's no way she wouldn't push to feature prominently, because that's what all actors do. I want a bigger part. I want more. So this whole downplaying it as if this was always the intention is just so obviously a lie.
In this sequel.
But wait! There's more!
But not only that, in a shocking turn of events, she's even dragged Elon Musk into this mess, as it's being reported that Elon Musk actually...
Did you guys see when Elon Musk posted that picture of her in a Mercy cosplay? Oh boy, I think he just doesn't give a crap, Elon Musk, but I don't think he thinks things through either very much.
Threatened Warner Brothers on behalf of Amber Heard.
Look it up if you haven't seen it.
That actually happened. Of course it happened. I think this is a reflection of how, like, just... Oh my god!
And I can't even begin to imagine the dirt that Amber Heard must have on Elon Musk in order to force him to care about whether or not she's in this movie, because I seriously doubt Elon Musk even gives a damn whether or not Amber Heard is in Aquaman 2 or not. But now Warner Brothers and DC, led by James Gunn, have attacked Amber Heard back, saying that Jason Momoa was nothing but professional on set, and that she was never going to have a big role in the movie. And
didn't Amber Heard like completely insult Jason Momoa and his family or his niece? I remember something like that. So if Jason Momoa still conducted himself in a professional manner, that's impressive, because she was essentially attacking his family at one point. She's just a nasty, allegedly a nasty, vile piece of work.
that she was the one causing problems and has been spreading absolute lies about Aquaman 2 and the entire DC Studios company.
That person's crazy, cause look at him!
But all of this just sets Aquaman and DC back entirely because they were already struggling to make a profit and they had a lot riding on this Aquaman 2 movie, given the fact that the first Aquaman
grossed 335 million and 813 million in other territories. Yeah, I thought the first Aquaman was pretty successful, right? That's what I remember. Whether it deserved to be or not.
actually made $1 billion at the box office. Now, I have no idea why that movie was successful to begin with, because I really hated that first movie and thought it was a cringe.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was an enjoyable ride because I wasn't going in it taking it too seriously. I thought it was kind of like a knock on Indiana Jones or something like that, but less clever would be one way to put it, but more flashy.
Terrible mess. However, many people went out to the cinema to support it, and many fans actually enjoyed that film, so they expected this sequel to make a huge amount of money at the box office. But due to the fact that all of this drama is surrounding Amber Heard right now, and the fact that she was caught out for lying in court against Johnny Depp, there was a massive movement to boycott this sequel, and
I don't think there was a moment where she was telling the truth, honestly. And there's so much time of her talking on that trial. And if you've ever seen it, you'll see what I mean. Like, that was just a clip about her talking about a dog stepping on a bee. And it's just so sort of weirdly random the way she sort of describes stuff. She's trying her hardest to make out as if everything was oppressive against her. It's terrible.
Fearing that this movie may not even come close to breaking even and may actually lose DC hundreds of millions of dollars. And given the fact that Amber Heard is now coming out and making more accusations against Jason Momoa himself and the entire production team behind this film, they probably fear that there's going to be such a huge negative rhetoric around this movie, it may lose even more money than they...
I don't think so. If it was someone reputable, I would understand. But if it's someone that has been proven themselves, I know a lot of people are still going to be like, oh, Amber Heard was completely right and she done nothing wrong and Johnny was the bad guy. Like, I'm sure that's the case, but I don't think the majority of people believe that. And I think that if she's slagging off the movie or the cast before the movie is going to be released to the public, I don't think that's really going to have that much of a negative impact because it's just kind of like swatting away a fly. It's just an annoying fly. It's not like a swarm of mosquitoes
initially thought. And not only that, critics were also walking out of early screenings of this movie because it was that bad.
Shite.
And
I haven't seen it. Has it come out yet? I have no idea. That's a shame. I was really looking forward to a great action film in Aquaman 2.
Also, there was some leaked early screening feedback reports for this movie saying that this movie absolutely sucks and is one of the worst DC movies yet. And that's saying something because DC haven't really made that many great films, and the only good DC movies they were able to churn out were movies that weren't tied to the DCU or the DC Extended Universe as it used to be called. And they've had some really bad films, and if this movie is being called one of the worst ones yet, I can't even begin to imagine how bad this film actually is.
Now I just want to see it because that just makes me more curious. It's like if a film is mediocre or average, but if a film is like bad but has a lot of money behind it, now I'm interested.
And due to all of this negative talk around this movie, it's hard to imagine this film making any money at the box office at all, which is very sad because after Aquaman 2, DC have nothing slated that seems like it will...
I can't remember this guy's name. He's in The Watchmen.
Because after Aquaman 2...
I think he might be a bit too old for the role now, but I've always thought
have nothing...
he would make a really good Arthas. You can always CGI his face a little bit if you need him to look a little bit younger in particular scenes. But once he becomes like the undead Arthas, spoiler, I think he could play that role really well. He's got the look, I think. Don't you think? There's just something kind of menacing about it. He has this kind of Arthur Metaphor face structure. I love it.
Slated
I see
that
it.
seems like it will come
I see it.
anywhere near breaking even for the company and make any profits for their company in the near future. Because when you look at their upcoming films and you look at the fact that they announced that Blue Beetle will be the first hero cemented in their new DCU and is the only hero announced that's definitely going to be in the DC future moving forward, that really shows the sad state that DC's in, because Blue Beetle...
A lot of films from DC EU or all that business, they haven't done well recently. That has been stated. And apparently a lot of people quite liked Blue Beetle. I've watched it and I was honestly bored. I didn't hate the movie though. I thought it was a fine, enjoyable sort of silly romp that was more aimed at kids. But I was quite honestly bored. So I was surprised to see so many people be like, this was the best one that they've done of recent times. I was like, oh wow, that's not great.
While it wasn't the worst movie in the world and received okay reviews, made no money at the box office, given the fact that no one actually knows who that hero is in pop culture and in day-to-day life.
Just came out of nowhere,
there are comic book
basically.
fans out there that like Blue Beetle. However, when you're trying to pitch a movie, you need to have characters that people genuinely care about, and DC are building their entire future on...
That's the one thing Marvel did insanely well. Is they were able to introduce characters as B-roll characters, side characters, sometimes an important character that would feature quite prominently within a movie. And obviously there's the Avengers as well, so they could show off a lot of different characters. So they had those beats that they could introduce to the public without making it a full production. Whereas DC did not have that luxury. They got off late and then they started off big with all of their characters and no one knew who the hell they were. There was no sort of proper introduction or feel like you've even... It's like someone starting at the middle of a conversation or something. They talk to you, but they start at the middle and expect you to know what happened at the start of the conversation.
A bunch of characters that no one's even heard of, played by actors that no one's heard of either. And so I can imagine there's a lot of panic going on at DC right now between James Gunn and the other studio executives due to the fact that they're probably not looking to break even with any of their movies coming up in the future and look to be in a really bad financial position. And a lot of that is due to their own fault, and a lot of that is due to the discourse that's going on at DC right now, where they clearly don't have a clear vision for the way that they want to move in the future, as they seem to make such rash and split-second decisions over and over again that result in the company falling even...
That was rough, I remember that. Henry Cavill, he even did like a sort of vlog video where he was like, oh, I've been brought back to be Superman, and then like a couple of weeks later, James Gunn is like, nope. Ugh.
Rash and split-second decisions over and over again that result in the company falling even further in decline. And they've also hired actors like Amber Heard, who are well known to spread lies, spread false information, and voice their opinion no matter how crazy or toxic it is. And so DC clearly have a lot of problems that they need to sort out, and it begins with the people that they're hiring in their films, and begins with all the studio...
Have you ever seen that one? The Ezra Miller doing the choke business? It kind of looks like he's joking at first, and then he kind of gets a little bit too far where someone just doesn't know when to stop. Oh, it's an uncomfortable watch.
Executives actually getting together and having a clear one vision plan for the future. However, it doesn't seem like that because DC have never quite found their footing and have never quite found their voice when it comes to the movies that they make. And all of this is sad to me because DC to me have the best heroes. I've grown up loving all the DC heroes in the comic books, and I've always thought that DC had a better chance at making better movies than Marvel because their heroes were that much better, were much more nuanced, and had great characterization. However, they were never able to capitalize on top of having the best heroes due to the fact that their stories just downright sucked, and they could never find a one voice for their company the way that Marvel were able to come up.
That was so cheesebag, that scene. Was that the Wonder Woman 84? Where she's sort of dodging the missiles and stuff like that? The CGI on that was like half finished. That looks so bad, that did. Yeah, DC have a big issue with CGI looking good, don't they?
and they could never find a one voice for their company the way that Marvel were able to come up with a vibe for their movies, and you knew what to expect from an MCU film. You knew there would be some quirky humor, you knew there would be some lighthearted jokes, and that there would be cool action scenes, and people got excited for the MCU because they had a clear vision and a clear voice, whereas with DC, they never really had a clear vision or a clear voice because they were constantly changing it up, and they were either copying the MCU or they were trying to go off in a direction that didn't work because it was just so random and so rash of a decision. And they were never able to deliver movies and characters that people genuinely wanted to see, because I mean, none of us wanted to see Noah Centineo in a superhero film. And now that
I don't know who that is. I don't know why he's got beef with that guy. You tell me.
they have to deal with this lunatic in Amber Heard who's causing even more problems for the company, and in a way I feel sorry for James Gunn because ever since stepping into this position as head of DC, he's had to deal with all of the problems and all of the repercussions of the decision.
I really hate that trope, by the way, in superhero films, when a character can shoot laser beams, but they always miss. How? How do they always miss? Aren't lasers, like, faster than you can essentially react, pretty much? How do they always miss?
To deal with all of the problems and all of the repercussions of the decisions made at the studio before he was even there, and he's yet to even take creative control of any of their movies that they've put out, and I don't think he's going to have a movie come out that he had clear creative control over until maybe 2025 at the earliest, and that's sad because by that point, the superhero genre will be well and truly dead. And say what you want about the current state of the MCU, but at least they had a great time at the top, and at least they delivered great movies for nearly a decade, whereas the DCU never quite found their footing and never really delivered a movie that everyone could get behind. But what are your
thoughts? Eh? What do you think? What is your thoughts? It's more about slagging off DC at the moment, but sure. The Amber Heard bits were good too.
Thoughts on this Amber Heard situation? Let me know down below in the comments. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all on my next video.
Yeah, I enjoy his short, sort of quick takes on the movies, and yeah, good video. Although I'd like to see a little bit more on this Amber Heard business, but I'm sure more of that will come as time goes by.